If human is self-evolving, then we must ask what is the purpose for human. If human was created by gods, then we must ask, why did gods create human? What is God's purpose? Follow me and subscribe to my channel. Let's study Arnaud ideas and myths together, exploring the purpose of humanity. In Arnaud's book Duoli, 44 Days That Changed the World, the author cites studies of early human civilization.
The earliest civilization of mankind that can be identified is the Sumer civilization, which is part of the Mesopotamian civilization system. The Sumerian civilization was located in southern Mesopotamia and dates back to 4500 BC. It was founded by the Sumerian dynasty, which lasted roughly until 2004 BC, after which it gradually integrated into the Amorites, one of the Semitic peoples. In 1894 BC, its leader Sumer founded the city-state of the Kingdom of Babylon in southern Mesopotamia. Until the 18th century BC, the city-state of Babylon civilization replaced it. Sumerian writing on clay tablets is considered to be the earliest writing in the world.
The Sumerian civilization, which lasted from 4000 BC to 3000 BC, is known to historians as the early high civilization. During this period, Sumerian city-states and writing existed. However, the history of this period is still unclear. Around 3500 BC, the Sumerians invented cuneiform, also known as nailhead or arrowhead writing. The cuneiform texts found today are mainly economic or administrative documents, and do not yet give a complete picture of the history of the period. The Sumerians created the early civilization of mankind in the valley of the two great rivers, the Euphrates and the Tigris. But so far we do not know where the Sumerians came from and where the Sumerian civilization originated. According to the evidence, the black-haired Sumerians were neither Proto-Indo-Europeans nor Semitic people. It is possible that the blackheads were yellow, and some scholars have speculated that they came from the high mountains of Iran or Afghanistan. But this direction of migration is the opposite of the human migration out of Africa and eastward, and at the wrong time. Sumerian is not similar to any other known language. Sumerian is known to be an agglutinative language, which consists of words that are stuck together. An agglutinative language is a type of language with morphological variation. An agglutinative language expresses grammatical functions by gluing different word endings to the roots of nouns and verbs. The earliest known human mythology is also Sumerian. It has been shown that both the Bible and Greek mythology were inspired by Babylonian mythology, and that Babylon myths originated from the Akkadians. The Akkadians copied the Sumerian mythology. In addition, the mythology of the ancient Egyptians is directly derived from the Sumerian mythology. It has even been suggested that the Chinese myths are also variations of the Sumerian myths. In 1849, British archaeologist, cuneiform expert, and art historian Austin Henry Laird, in the presence of his Iraqi assistant Hormuzd Rasim, with the help of Assyrian, the ancient capital of Nineveh, near the present-day city of Mosul in northern Iraq, discovered the library of the Assyrian king Ashurbanipal. Ashurbanipal is considered one of the few highly cultured rulers of the ancient Middle East, and ruled an empire whose boundaries extended from northern Egypt to the Iranian plateau. Ashurbanipal established the first systematic library in the history of Western Asia, the Library of Ashurbanipal, with a collection of valuable clay tablets, including epic poems, scholarly writings, and ritual works. These include the famous Sumerian epic of Gilgamesh and Akkadian Enuma Elish, and a large number of other texts. The Epic of Gilgamesh records 5 poems about King Gilgamesh during the 3rd dynasty of Engurra, also known as the New Sumerian Empire, 22nd to 21st centuries BC. Gilgamesh, and is the earliest heroic epic ever discovered. The epic is considered a foundational work of religious and heroic legend, and Gilgamesh is also considered the prototype of such heroes as Heracles and later Greek mythology, which exerted a profound influence on Homeric poetry. The Enuma Elish is the Babylonian epic of the creation, and also spelled Enuma Elish. It consists of about 1,000 lines recorded in Akkadian on 7 clay tablets. each containing between 115 and 170 lines of Sumerian Akkadian cuneiform. Much of the fifth tablet has never been copied, but the text is virtually complete except for this blank section. Of the 7 stelae, it describes the creation of the world, the battle of the gods, the creation of mankind in the service of the gods of Mesopotamia, and concludes with a lengthy praise of Marduk. Marduk is generally considered to be from the 2nd dynasty of Asin, after Nebuchadnezzar II returned from Elam transporting Marduk sculptures, but it is also believed to be the late Kashan period. This epic was probably recited during the festival of Akitu. Some late Assyrian versions replace Marduk with Ashur. Akitu means festival and is the ancient Mesopotamian and worldwide Assyrian festival of Babylonian Nisan, first day of spring festivals and New Year's celebrations to celebrate the sowing of barley. Nisan is the month of barley ripening and the first month of spring in both the Babylonian and Hebrew calendars. In the Hebrew calendar, it is the first month of the church year and is called the first month of the year, the first month, in the month of Avi. In the Book of Esther and the later Talmud, the month of Nisan is called New Year. In the Sumerian, Akkadian, and Babylonian creation myths, the work of creation went through 6 generations of gods. In the Babylonian epic poem Enuma Elish, after 6 generations of gods, there is a 7th generation of gods, the sons and daughters of Enlil and Ninlil, the Igigi gods. This generation of gods refused to fulfill their duty to maintain the work of creation. So the Engurra Abzu, the god of fresh water and co-creator of the universe, threatened to destroy the world with water. Abzu is also known as Engurra, where Ab means water and Zu means to know or to be deep, and its name is derived from fresh underground water. Abzu is located deep underground. There lies the powerful Me, which is invisible to the other gods. Abzu's wife was Tiamat. Tiamat means bitter water / salt water, which is the opposite of fresh water for her husband, Abzu. The two of them gave birth to all the gods. As a mother goddess, she told her children, the gods, about Abzu's plans. Enuma Elish records.
When on high the heaven had not been named, firm ground below had not been called by name. Naught but primordial Apsu, their begetter, and Mummu Tiamat, she who bore them all. Their waters commingling as a single body. No reed but had been matted, no marsh land had appeared. Anu begot in his image Nudimmud. This Nudimmud was of his fathers the master. Of broad wisdom, understanding, mighty in strength, mightier by far than his grandfather, Anshar. He had no rival among the gods, his brothers.
In Sumerian mythology, after the separation of heaven and earth, the sky was Anu, whose original name was En. One of his sons, Nudimmud, mentioned in the epic, was the god of creation, and the later god of the creation of man, Enki. The gods were horrified to learn that Abzu was going to destroy the gods, and gathered together to deliberate. Enki, the guardians of the divine power Me, decided to help the gods by imprisoning Abzu in an irrigation canal and placing him in Kur, underneath the city of Eridu, to put him to sleep. Abzu later died in captivity and became the future underworld. Enki was the god of water in Sumerian mythology, as well as the god of knowledge, craftsmanship, and creation, and he was one of the Anunnaki gods. The god Anunnaki is a descendant of An, the god of the sky, and Ki, the god of the earth. The two of them were also brother and sister. In Akkadian and Babylonian mythology, Enki is called Ea, and in Sumerian is equivalent to the title Lord, originally given to the high priest. Ki means earth. Abzu's son, Kingu, tells his mother of his father's death, and the earth mother goddess, Tiamat, gives birth to all the gods. To avenge her husband's death, Tiamat and her son Kingu mated and gave birth to 11 monsters to fight against the gods. The 11 monsters were the winged bipedal serpent Basmu, the triceratops Usumgalu, the 7-headed serpent Musmahu, the sublime serpent, Musu, the wrathful serpent, Ramu, hairy one, which is the same as the sublime serpent, which is a different being from the male god of the same name mentioned above, the lion-headed storm demon Ugelu, the great bad weather beast, the dog-headed man, also known as the lion-headed man, Uridemu, the angry lion, Gertabulu, the scorpion man, Imudabrutu, the storm man, the mermaid Kalulu, fish man, and the bullman Kusariku, the lower half of which is a bull. Tiamat also gave King Ku the Tablet of Destinies, the symbol of the supreme ruler of the universe, as his breastplate so that he could lead 11 monsters to attack the gods. The gods gather again and, horrified, ask Enki for help, but Enki refuses to intervene. The gods then turn to Enlil, the god of Nippur, for help. Enlil, also known as Enlil, was the god of the weather and the sky, Lord Wind or Lord Storm. His holy city was the ancient Sumerian city of Nippur. Nippur is located in modern Nufar, Afik, Qadisiyah province, Iraq. It is located about 200 kilometers south of modern Baghdad and about 96.56 kilometers southeast of the ancient city of Babylon. Enlil promised to fight Tiamat if the gods made him king of the gods. After the gods promised Enlil to be their king, Enlil defeated 11 monsters led by King Ku. Finally, Tiamat tried to swallow Enlil in one bite. Enlil manipulated a storm so that Tiamat could not close his own mouth, and then shot Tiamat through the throat with an arrow of wind, arched the heavens with her ribs, and then placed her tail in the sky to become the Milky Way, her breasts to form mountain ranges, and her weeping eyes to become the source of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Enlil seized the Tablet of Destiny and created the Pantheon, of which he became the king of gods. About 100 years later, Enlil's role as head of the Pantheon was given to Marduk, the Babylonian god. The protagonist of the mythical story of the defeat of Tiamat also became Marduk. However, the seventh-generation gods were unwilling to continue the work of creation, and the question of who will keep the universe running remained. Enki then suggests to the gods that they create the servants of the gods, human beings out of clay and blood. Enki then used the blood of King Ku mixed with the red clay of the earth to mold the human body to become a servant who would labor in place of the young god Igigi. Therefore, human beings are in fact the servants of the gods, and the purpose of God's creation of human beings is to let them work and worship the gods.
From his blood he created mankind, on whom he imposed the service of the gods, and set the gods free. After the wise Ea had created mankind and had imposed the service of the gods upon them.
Follow me and subscribe to my channel. We study Arnowell's monumental work, ideas and myths together, exploring the true purpose of God's creation of man